What's up guys, Aroneous here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today's video I'm going to be going over the new dungeon boss, Tainted Fyro. So Tainted Fyro, I'm going to show you at least 5 to 10, maybe more, maybe 5 to 10 champions that you could utilize to take down Tainted Fyro that's upcoming in the future. So first, I want to go over and watch the video from Raid Shadow Legends official on Tainted Fyro. It's a brief 30 to 40 second video clip, and then I'm going to go over the champions that you could utilize, assuming that you have them in the game. So let's get into it. All right, so we've got the Tainted Fyro right behind me. Let's watch.
The Ice Golem's hot-tempered counterpart, Tainted Fyro, the Fire Knight. If you thought his shield was nasty before, just wait until you see it now. It goes from needing 12 hits to break in stage 25 of normal mode to needing 21 hits in stage 10 of hard
That's
mode.
insane.
That's not even your biggest worry. Attacking Tainted Fyro's shield will destroy your champion's max HP by 1%.
Miracle heal, enough said.
His Corrupting Blaze skill also destroys your team's HP by 15% of the damage dealt. Meaning, whatever he does, your HP is taking a hit. You'll need to find a way to counter this, or else Tainted Fyro will be carving through your champions like a hot knife through butter. Oh, and he's immune to turn meter reduction too. Sorry all you Cold Heart and Allure fans. However, all hope is not lost. Turns out Tainted Fyro just needs to chill out. Okay, using freeze may not literally freeze him, but it will cause him to lose 15% of his turn meter per freeze debuff.
Nice, that's awesome.
Move on to our next.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back. You saw a bunch of different things that are going to be optimal for champions that you're going to need to bring in, like freeze champions. So let's get to the tavern here. Let me showcase to you a few different champions that you can utilize that is going to help you to beat the new dungeon boss, Tainted Fyro. All right, so you saw that Tainted Fyro is going to have an increase in the amount of shield damage that you're going to need to do to the shield before the shield actually comes down, okay, and frees him to be able to attack his main body. Now, 21 turns is kind of crazy. You did see that Rhonda was a viable champion, so that's going to be the first person on the list here, Rhonda. Okay, Rhonda has a multi-hit skill on every one of her skills. Triple hit here with a chance of placing an extra hit if the target has less than 50% HP after the third hit. So that's nice. And then here we have 3 hits, which is awesome. Ignore shield and 30% of target's defense. So Rhonda's going to be a massive champion against this dungeon boss. And then of course she has an AoE ability as well that is going to be helpful for the waves. Decreases all turn meter reduction effects used against this champion by 50% when using this skill. And immune to turn meter reduction effects when this skill is not on cooldown. Pretty cool. So if there's wave champions or enemies that do have turn meter reduction effects, this will be a benefit for your account within Rhonda. Let's move on to the next champion. So another champion you could utilize that's going to be helpful for you, of course, everybody's going to get her, Arbiter. She's going to help increase our speed, right? Because you want to have turn meter manipulation, but not against the boss, so to speak, in terms of depleting his turn meter with regular turn meter manipulation champions. For example, like some people would utilize, what's her name? Lysandra, right? But of course, now we want to increase our speed because we feel like, or at least I feel like, this champion, or this boss is going to have higher speeds, right? And you need to be faster to be able to take down that shield. She brings that turn meter increase with damage increase, okay? And she helps with survivability. And then she can also revive all your allies too, and grants an extra turn if she successfully revives one of your allies. Very massive. Another champion that could be really, really good is going to be Sir Nicholas. Sir Nicholas does have a freeze. 50% chance of placing a freeze, and it cannot be resisted, so he doesn't even need to be built with accuracy. However, if you have Brimstone on him, he does need to be built with accuracy. Kind of stinks, right? Unless you have a 6-star awakening. Now, that's a phenomenal ability. Not a lot of people do have Sir Nicholas, but you could utilize this guy. Another champion you can use, of course, that's really strong is going to be Ninja with his triple hits. He really ramps up in damage because of his triple hit ability. So attacks 3 times at random, 75% chance of placing HP burn debuff for 3 turns. Also places a perfect veil on this champion for 2 turns. When used against bosses, will instantly activate any HP burn debuffs, including HP burn debuffs placed by this skill. Of course, if you don't have him, maybe you could utilize your referral system to get Chronum. Chronum's also a decent champion as well. So another champion you could utilize that's going to benefit you with multiple hits. This is kind of a halfway decent champion here in Basilius Roanus, a nice honorable mention because he helps CC the waves And of course, he does have a triple hit here, so that can help take down the boss's shield. But of course, we want as many hits as possible, right? You could also potentially utilize someone like Rosin. Rosin does have a triple hit on the A1, decreased defense and weaken as well on the A2. Of course, the turn meter reduction effect is not going to work against the boss, but he does have the triple hit, which is really nice. Good for low spend or free-to-play players. Another champion you could utilize, Foley. Foley might actually come into some teams here because Foley does have a quad hit here, and also an annihilating ability with Sealed Fate, which could help you against the waves, assuming that he's in really good damage and high speeds. Now, my Foley is built for Arena, 184 speed, high damage. I need more attack, but high crit rate, high crit damage. If you have him in higher speeds, then it's going to be very beneficial for the new Fire Knight, Tainted Fyro. Another champion you could utilize, she would be just good for survivability and Scylla the Drakes. She doesn't do multi-hit skills, so she's not going to be very good other than this one hits 2 times, but she's not going to be that great. She's like a B tier against the new Tainted Fyro boss. Another champion you could utilize, if you have him, is this legendary champion in Genzin. Now, I do have him built really fast, so I may not need to change him too much. However, with his very low HP and his very low defense, he could get knocked down with one hit from this new boss, Tainted Fyro. However, he does ramp up in speed, and he does have a nice passive. Increases this champion's speed by 10 and resistance by 50 if the number of champions on this team equal to or lower than the number of enemies on the enemy team. So it always works when fighting bosses. So you don't have to worry about this passive not working when it comes to the waves, but it always works when you're facing the boss. So that's kind of cool. It does increase his speed, and he does have a triple hitting ability right here, which fills his turn meter by 6% each hit. So he's getting back 18% turn meter every single time he used the Flowing Cuts ability. And of course, he has the attack all enemies decreased defense, which could be good on the boss. This right here would be okay, but it's nice because it fills a champion's turn meter by 60% if the target has 50% HP or less after the attack. Also decreases the cooldown of Steel Parting and Fated Vengeance skills by 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. But of course, against the boss, it's not going to be that very effective, to be honest. It's nice because it fills his turn meter by 30%. Okay, so that's kind of cool. But honestly, you're probably just going to want to use Flowing Cuts a lot if you're going to use him. Another champion that could be helpful, not this one so much. He does have a triple hit. You could put him in a nice shield set. It could be beneficial, or like a bolster set where he's healing every single turn as well. Or I think the bolster set has heals. Let me just double check that. I don't know if the bolster set has heals or just unremovable shield. Yes, he does also. It does also heal 10% every turn along with unremovable shield. So that's actually very beneficial. Another champion you could utilize now when it comes to freezes, because freezes are the only thing that's going to reduce Tainted Fyro's turn meter, right? So frost champions are going to be good. I did mention Sir Nicholas every time he hits with the A1 and has the freeze chance. Hopefully it just decreases the Tainted Fyro's turn meter by 15%, I believe it was. And now potentially a Vault Lord champion, which could be Pixneal, might actually be good now. How many hits does she do? 1 hit. This is a perfect veil. Okay. Okay, this one here is continuous heal on all allies for 2 turns, then attacks all enemies under freeze. Okay, that's not that great. Attacks all enemies, 80% chance of placing a freeze for 1 turn. The reason why Pixneal is not going to be great against this boss is only because she only has single target abilities, so she might not actually be that great against the Tainted Fyro boss. There might be some instances where a team could come in built around her, where if you increase the speed enough, she can take another turn, but she just doesn't have any multi-hit ability, so she doesn't become super meta. She becomes okay, subpar, to be honest. That's just me, though. But leave it in the comments down below. What do you guys think about Pixneal? I just don't think she's going to be slotted in as often as some might think. Another champion you could utilize, which is a free champion, I do have him, and it is Yakarl. He's actually really strong now because he has the freeze on the A1, attacks 2 times, so it's a multi-hit skill, which is very good. Each hit, 40% chance of placing the freeze, and ignores 25% of the target's defense to targets under freeze, okay? And then 1 hit here, okay, it isn't unfortunately a triple hit or anything like that. 75% chance of decreasing, placing a decreased speed, and 75% chance of placing a freeze. So that's another ability with another freeze. So that's 15% turn meter there. And then another freeze right here. And this chance increases to 100% against targets with 75% or more turn meter. This debuff cannot be resisted by targets with 75% or more turn meter. So Yakarl is going to be the #1 champion in my opinion, next to the other Void legendary, which I don't recall his name, but he's an ogre, and it's Gurgo the Augur. So Gurgo the Augur and Yakarl the Scourge are going to be phenomenal against this new Fire Knight boss, the Tainted Fyro. So attacks 2 times, places an extra hit if target's under freeze, removes 2 random buffs from all enemies, 80% chance of placing a freeze on all enemies for 1 turn, and then grants an extra turn. So this extra turn is going to be granted regardless of if the freeze lands or not. So, and then this one, attacks 1 enemy, places an extra hit if the target has a freeze debuff, and then 50% chance of placing a freeze debuff on the attacker for 1 turn if this champion loses more than 20% of their max HP on 1 attack. So, of course, it would be nice if he has the shield up and he loses a little bit of turn meter by 15%. The issue is we really need to look for champions that have multi-hit skills so we can actually take down the shield to be able to get the freezes out there. So these champions will need to be built very fast, and you're going to have to be building champions that have multi-hit skills paired alongside freeze champions. Other champions you could utilize against the Tainted Fyro, I'm actually going to go into the index here so I can take a look at a few different champs. So another champ you could utilize to help against the waves would be Archmage Helmet. Very strong champion in regards to the waves. Now he doesn't have a double hit, but he does have turn meter fill on himself if the attack is critical. And he also has a stun that he could do against the waves, so it could help you progress against those strong hitting waves. And he also has the increased speed, increased crit rate, increased crit damage on all allies for 2 turns. So if you don't have Seer, if you have another damage dealing champion that does an AoE on the waves, he can help you out in boosting your damage. And then we also have Stagnite, another really good champion. 2 hits on the A1, also a decreased speed and a decreased defense and decreased attack as well. If he's booked out, it is going to be a 95% chance to land it. And then if you put on the mastery to do an additional 5% chance to land, which I highly suggest doing, it'll be a 100% chance as long as he hits a critical hit. Of course, if you're against negative affinity, then you might not do it. Also places an increased accuracy buff on an ally for 1 turn each time the ally has a debuff resisted by an enemy. Also phenomenal. This guy is insane. I wish I had him on my account, on my free-to-play account here, but I've just never managed to pull him, unfortunately, and I've been playing for very close to 4 years now. And then other champions you could potentially utilize, let's see. Tomb Lord. Tomb Lord's a champion you could definitely utilize. So Tomb Lord, I do have him, and he's right here. The reason why Tomb Lord is so good, I'm going to change him out of this toxic set eventually, by the way. But the reason why Tomb Lord's so good, attacks 1 enemy 3 times, decreased speed. Okay, that's huge because if you build him really fast, you can just keep using that ability. Poisons as well. He places up to 5% poisons on the enemy if the attack is critical, because he has a chance of placing 4. But it has to be critical, of course. And then decrease attack, decrease defense. And this always lands, unless for some reason you get that like 3% resist. But this pretty much always lands. Plus the accuracy in Doom Tower, but of course it's dungeon, so that's not going to help. I think the accuracy was different before, or this aura was different before. They buffed him and gave him a Doom Tower aura instead, which is not bad. I do utilize him in Doom Tower all the time. He's freaking amazing. Another champion you could potentially utilize against the waves that could help is actually Skull Crown. She can do a lot of damage, plus if you put her in a stun set, she can do fairly well there as well. And she does have a double hit if the boss is over half health or the champions or enemies are over half health as well. Plus she has a smashing ability right here. Now I probably wouldn't use her personally, but it's just a potential option. You could also utilize Vogoth if you're having struggle staying alive. Vogoth has a triple hitting A1 and a chance to increase the duration of 1 random debuff on the target for 1 turn. He also has provokes and decrease attack against the enemy waves. Also pretty fantastic ability. Plus, I put my Vogoth in, you guessed it, Miracle Heal. Miracle Heal is going to be fantastic against the Fyro, Tainted Fyro. Okay, you have to have Miracle Heal or else he's going to continuously destroy your HP, so be very careful. Now, another champion that's really good still is going to be Cold Heart. She has the quad hit on the A1. Okay, so that's just something that you're going to need to bring in is quad hits. If you can get quad hits on a champion, bring in a champion that could do quad hits, triple hits, double hits. If you're bringing in champions that are only going to do one hit, you're going to struggle against this boss. What are some other Frost champions or Freeze champions that you can utilize for the new dungeon boss? Leave it in the comments down below. Who else do you think we should be bringing in that have multi-hits or freeze abilities in their kit? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on a video soon. Peace.